Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is my run of the Glittering City of Gold LUFENIA Plus, where I brought Zidane, Setzer, Sid Reigns with a Twins friend unit, and Pandemonium as a summon, obviously because I have Reigns in the party here. But these bosses have high defenses and do a lot of HP damage. So they start off with high defenses. They start off with enough Brave to kill any one of your characters. So I start off with Sid Reigns. I just do a basic S1 just to keep that buff up, but I didn't really plan on doing damage starting off with Sid Reigns because I don't have Setzer's fixed dice on Reigns yet, and I don't have Kurosami's call on, nothing like that. So that I didn't want to waste one of Reigns' moves because I'm not using how can I put it, I don't want to waste the turn since all the damage is really coming from Reigns and my Twins friend unit, and I just want to maximize the amount of damage that his S2 and his LD call can do. So I start off where my goal is to just delete the turns with Zidane. I really didn't bring in Zidane for anything else except that. I don't think he does good damage whatsoever. You see there, I mean, what it's like measly little 83,000. He just doesn't do a lot of damage. When he has the fixed dice, it's decent. His S1 does decent damage. And then just to ensure that I push their turns back as much as possible, I even brought a Metatilian as a call. Metatilian does bring that defense down, but it's very minimal. I mean, it's better to bring Ferris or something like that, but the fact that I have Setzer in the party, didn't really feel it too necessary to bring in Ferris. I thought it was just, you know, I think pushing back their turns was more important, just because I am doing most of the time, you know, rainbow damage to these enemies. And even at one point, besides the LUFENIA defense up that they take a defensive posture, which also increases their speed by 50% and then does another 100% defense up. It's pretty crazy. It also adds immunity to instant break, and they don't allow you to gain Brave. So I thought Setzer, just like most stages that I use him on, he was just crucial for this because, again, he doesn't care about all those defenses and all that stuff, and he allows your party to obviously to hit for Rainbow, which is really max damage anyway. So here, this is probably one of my, I'm going to try to make it one of my last runs where it's a Setzer Reigns, I guess, party, just because it makes almost anything super easy, I feel. It's just a stupid combination. You'll see there, like Sid Reigns, I think he does, is it a mil damage? Yeah, 1.3 million damage. Obviously I think that's from the aura, from the burst effect from the Twins, and it's just like, wow, that's it. You know, and if you bring somebody else to do 1.3 million damage, it's gonna be very tough unless you wait for Machina or, you know, Noel or anything like that. But yeah, as you can see here, B's are already down, I think, in the 60%. Is just, and that's just with a few turns with fixed dice on both these guys. The damage it's just outrageously dumb. But the fact that I had to catch up with so much content because I hadn't uploaded for such a long time, I just needed to kind of blow through content as fast as possible to catch up and still be able to upload the videos, things like that. But you really just have to worry about, I guess, being able to tank a lot of HP damage, just because almost everything they do is just pure HP damage. Like when they're targeting everybody, they're gonna use, I think, all Gatlings, which is a Brave gain and then an AoE Brave HP attack with split HP damage. Then when their recast is up, they're gonna do again disruptive. I think it's called disruptive laser. Yeah, disruptive laser. Then it has its plus version and then its plus version, and so it also has something called breeze out. That's also a Brave HP attack. And then what else? Everything else is a Brave attack. So it's definitely, you definitely have to bring some type of tank here. And if you don't bring a tank, like I didn't bring a tank, Setzer is not so much a tank, it's more like a damage mitigation or mitigator, because I can just apply the freeze Joker and they won't do any damage. So that was another way to stay safe as well if they were to take a turn, is just using the Freeze Joker on these guys. And if you don't bring somebody like Joker, you will have to bring a pretty heavy tank to be able to take all that damage and still be able to heal up and things like that. And the turn count is pretty tight at 65, and the fact that they have really high defenses is just kind of like, I felt Setzer was like one of the best, obviously, units here. His kit is just, I think, works in almost every stage for some reason. This guy was just insanely crazy good. But other than that, you will have to bring very, very heavy damage, because if the turns were at, say, 80, 85, or 90, whatever, like I think one of the past LUFENIAs was, then it's like, okay, you don't have to bring such heavy, damage dealers and stuff like that. Obviously, BT plussing anybody here is gonna help out tremendously. I think no matter obviously who you have, but I still have not BT plussed anybody. I've been going through content just fine. I think that Setzer is a BT plus all in himself, just because of everything he does and how he allows everybody to do so much damage, and allowing me to bring, I think, other older units like Noctis to certain fights and things like that, and still being able to have Vaughn come in and with all the brave gains down and all that kind of stuff. So I felt like if I wouldn't have pulled for Setzer, to be honest with you, I would have to have greened somebody, and that most likely would have been, I would probably say, knowing what I know now, I probably would have gone with the Stola, and I'm still even thinking about greening her now. To be honest with you, it's gonna be that, and I would have probably also greened Ace. I think that I would have greened Ace. I would have blued Porum. So I would have had to have invested, I think, pretty heavy into a lot of different characters to have completed a lot of these LUFENIA fights. If it wasn't, I think, more for so much for Setzer. And I mean, I probably have a lot of characters that I could use that maybe I just, again, didn't use or don't know how to use. I can't say I'm an expert player, but I mean, the channel is more to help new players out and players with limited time and resources to play this game, and like what's the best decision and not waste your resources. So I know I said this before, but like I came out with a video that says, must pull, and that's where I had like Setzer's banner on there, or on the banners. I think there was Setzer. I can't remember if it was also Ash, and there was a bunch of characters on there that just the fact that Setzer was on there, and for new players, I thought that was definitely a must pull for just any new player, to be honest with you. I think that's how important that banner was, to be able to really catch up to content. And but here I also wanted to take care of making sure that I kill just one of the units. That's something I would suggest, is if you guys want to target one unit, focus on one unit, kill that one, just because you don't have to really worry about now deleting 2 turns or taking taking damage from each unit. Normally when you can defeat one of the bosses and the other one doesn't enrage or get something like higher defense as an attack and framed turns, it's something I would highly suggest, unless you're running twins in your party, just because the twins, they get all their damage and power from multiple enemies being on the field, especially all the way up to 3. That's when they get the most damage. And so since I used my friend's unit very early on for that same reason, I think it was just much more important to try and eliminate one of the enemies. And another way to think about it is, if you can eliminate one of the enemies early on, doing so, you eliminate the need to worry about a second orb. That's one way to look at it as well. I don't think I even really needed to bring Warrior of Light. I think that was just more like a plan C. just because Setzer was more of, or Zidane was my plan A for not letting the bosses take turns. Setzer with the freeze Joker was my plan B, and then if all of that fails, plan C was Warrior of Light. So I don't think he was necessary here. So I could have replaced Warrior of Light with maybe a better defense down call or something like that, or some type of enchant to the party, kind of like trying to think who enchants. I know Ignis enchants for fire, and Perils and enchants for fire. Lulu does the kind of the same thing, and then I think that also there's somebody that does wind. Am I forgetting? I'm forgetting their name. I think it's God, I can't remember the name. Anyway, if I remember, I'll comment on there. But yeah, Warrior of Light could have been replaced for somebody else that can imperil and enchant the party at the same time, which would also allow you to do a lot more damage as well. So that's one thing that you could also do if you want to bring in a different call. But if you for some reason are having trouble with the stage and still need a little bit more damage mitigation, then that's where Warrior of Light definitely can come in. And then other than that, think about tanks and damage. That's really what it comes down to. Tanks and damage. These guys, I think I had tried to run this with like Beatrix, Ace, and Porum, and didn't do so well. Not a bad team to have. I got really close. I think I got down to like 10% on each boss. So I think I could have done a little bit better run. Maybe just had a better friend unit. I still think I had the twins friend unit as well when I did that run with those 3 characters, and so it's definitely doable with other players by far. But I just said, you know what, there's so much I need to catch up to that I might as well just go ahead and use what I know will work right off the bat, which is going to be the Sid Reigns and Setzer combo. And as you can see here, well within the turn count. It's 65 on the turn count. Yeah, 65 on that turn count. And the whole goal here is just to keep the fixed dice on Sid Reigns. I mean, he's the one doing the damage. And then Zidane is consuming the turns, and but it's worth it just in the sense of how he just deletes the enemy's turns, and the fact that they never get a turn. And I remember who I was trying to talk about when I was trying to talk about the call ability, and that's Fujin. I think he is one of the better enchant and peril calls out there, because he does it in both of his call abilities. So I think that replacing Warrior of Light with Fujin could also work out. And then what else? So Jack with Kurasame and then Fujin, I think could also work pretty good here. There's a lot of different calls I think you could replace Warrior of Light with, but Zidane, I think I'm actually glad I used Zidane. I think that he's very useful with a lot of these fights where you're gonna have somebody like Machina, somebody like Noel that can do a lot of damage, but let's say that the bosses have a mechanic that when you let them take a turn, it's pretty disruptive to you, or they're inflicting all these debuffs or poisons or HP poisons. Then I think that Zidane still has a pretty bright future ahead of him when it comes down to helping out with LUFENIA Plus. He helped me here. I'm pretty sure that this is probably not the last time I'll be using Zidane as well. I will try to stay away from the Setzer and Sid Reigns combo, because I know I've completed several missions with that. Try to use other characters that I've pulled for, but if you're having trouble defeating the boss, here's a little run of these 3, if you do have them, on how you can use them. So good luck on the stage. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. Also, let me know in the comment section what you think about this mission and who you used to complete it. Check the links in the description for Opera Omnia websites that give you a bunch of helpful information, and I'll see you on the next one.